All right, we're going.
Okay, so we want to start. Uh, let me see. So, can we talk about the pros and cons of the case?
Okay.
The pros and cons, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I started out thinking that maybe a pro, this is before we even get into candidates. I thought he maybe should have countered an offer to Peter in the first place. I mean, if he was that valuable to the company, and he said he just didn't give him another offer, I think that was short-sighted. It's so expensive to rehire and retrain, and they would save time and money if they kept him. So that was my first recommendation before I get into who could be hired and who shouldn't.
I don't know. I didn't think that was such a great idea to try and counter, just because so much of his experience with the team had turned to a point where the rest of the team thought that he was entirely going for profit and he was just concerned about the money. So I thought that, I don't know, I thought that was like a good thing that this opportunity came up now, almost, that he had to go out and find somebody else to fill in that spot.
Are we talking pros and cons of the case in general, or just the fact that the initial person quit?
Yes, we can talk about pros and cons in general.
One thing that for some reason I thought was kind of a con. I don't remember his name, but Steven, I think, was the one who was doing the hiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just the fact that he took a lot of other people's opinions, and he weighed them very heavily, which was good. Like, I think that's good. But I think to a certain extent, he almost relied too heavily on people's opinions and didn't just go with his gut feeling. That was a thought that I had.
Sorry. I think one of the cons is that they have this company, the power chip, and they lose they lose Peter.
Right.
So they have a need to look for somebody to work with this company.
Right.
So in what if you got who of the five candidates who you hire?
Who do you hire? I thought that they should go with Sonia Mitha. I know that she has some wanted about like how much she would work and things like that, but she was somebody who had been able to accomplish a lot with fewer resources than she would be able to have at this new firm, and she would also potentially cost less initially. She could eventually get paid more and more, but she also had a much more curious mind about the organization, about how everything worked. So it seemed to me as though she cared much more about results than she did just about how much she was going to be compensated.
Uh-huh. Who you hire? Not
What was that?
What was that?
who you hire? To the Natalie?
Oh, who would I hire?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
So.
Well, I know who I wouldn't hire, but I don't think that's really answering our question. I don't know. For me, it was kind of a toss-up between Sonia and David, just because even though David was older and he might not be able to adjust to the fast pace as much, he still brought a lot of experience to the table, whereas Sonia didn't bring as much. But I also saw the potential that Sonia had to grow and to become a much more profitable employee later on. So for those two, it was, I'll go with Sonia for now, but.
Okay. How about you, Kevin?
In my paper, I suggested David Hughes, and this is why maybe because I'm an older member of the group, but I didn't see that would hurt him. He was already a star performer and he could step right in. He was a good mentor. And so along with the culture of the company and what are as a someone who could move right in, I thought David fit that place the best. I think there were some concerns about his age and about not answering to some vague, the case didn't really tell us, but a vague issue that happened in his industry, and he didn't answer that, but he was on family time at that time. So I don't know the industry well enough to understand if that was really detrimental or not. But to me, it seemed like he was putting family first for once, and he dealt with it when he got back. So I didn't see any problems with him. And then Sonia, I thought, was a great option as well. I had a couple of questions, like how much would they have to pay David, to move him in, and maybe they can move Sonia in at a lower salary. Seth, I thought he was a good option if they have time for someone to become a star. Read the case. I thought they really wanted someone who could step right in and take off, and that's why I picked David.
Okay. I would choose Sonia, or I would choose Seth. Sonia, for the same reason you have, guys. I think she can bring a lot to the company, and she wants to grow in the industry. But I like Seth because he already worked with PowerChip, and he knows that company, and he has clients in that company. But the agenda asking to who you hire and then show the salary of each of them. They say David, the salary of David would be $1.3 million by year.
Wow.
And Gerald is going to be $0.9 million. And Seth is $0.7 million. Sonia $0.4 million, and Rina $0.3 million.
Okay.
So after you know the salary, who you choose now?
I think that reinforce. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna say, I think that reinforces still my idea to hire Sonia. She's coming in well underneath some of the other candidates, but I think that she is still capable of performing work at least on the level of those candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think with that information, Sonia or Seth are still my options. I have a question about Sonia. You guys didn't really address her issues about traveling. And I don't think that's really her fault, but I think that Stephen really should have laid out the job requirements and let her know specifically, you have to travel or you don't, so she can make that decision. That was my concern with her. It's that if she really can't travel for family reasons, then she's not a good fit for the job.
Mm-hmm.
But but as far as her experience goes and that salary, she would be a good option.
Yeah, the traveling thing was like kind of my biggest hesitance for her. But even like if I don't know, my second choice would have to given Rena the job also. I think that those two are the best two options. Rena already had like a extensive experience with the kind of culture of the firm already. It sounded like her main issue was that she was still learning some of those leadership qualities, but that she was doing a good job otherwise. But I don't know. Even with hearing the salaries, it just it reinforces my first and second choice, I think.
One thought that came to mind in the case, it mentioned that Sonia said, oh, what did she say? She had no idea that salaries could be that high. I wonder if once she knew how high the salaries really could be, and if they did hire her, if it would kind of leave her like hungry for more in a way. I agree with you guys. I'm just kind of being the devil's advocate right now. Like, could kind of then become crazy over the money. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, I like your thought because when people start to see money, they they become a little, they want more, right? And as you say, she don't know how much money that position makes. And, and I have the issue the she cannot travel to for his kids. And I think Rina could be a good fit for that position.
Now we know that she already fits in with the culture, so that might be a good option. I think the question is with either Seth or Sonia is how they would perform at that kind of a firm. So that was another kind of question that I had about both of them, where Rena, they already know that she fits in there, but they seem to have questions about her ability to do the job because several people kind of hesitate to hire her into that position.
Well, there was there's that other handout that it had us download, and it talked about what kind of what parts of jobs are highly able to be adapted and what parts are not able to be moved. And excuse me. And it seemed as though most of what Sonia had was skills that were able to be transitioned from one company to another, and the things that she didn't have were things that did not generally translate very well. So I think that some of their worry about that was a little bit unjustified, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. What do you think of Seth? I mean, what reservations do you have about him?
Well, I'm going to have to open the case. I was just looking at my case study, and I didn't write about Seth very much in my case study, so I need to go look at the actual case again.
I thought you had a good point, Marvin, that he already did have experience with and contacts with PowerChip.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a pretty good candidate as well. The only negative thing they said about him is that he needed to improve his presentation and writing reports, and they answered it right away, and they said that working in their firm would certainly help him with those things. They didn't seem to think that was a problem.
Was trying to find real quick, was Seth the one that they weren't sure if he could keep producing his numbers?
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been, like, if it's what I'm remembering properly. I'm trying to look through it right now.
No, that could be.
I think it was that they weren't for sure if his like numbers were a fluke or if they were able to be counted upon.
That's right. I think you're right.
Because he was runner-up for 1 year, but they weren't sure if he could maintain it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, no. Go.
Well, one thing that I was just thinking about Seth was he is extremely ambitious though, which could benefit the company. He brought the packet filled with all of the recommendations, which was kind of odd, but like really, really ambitious and go-getter. So
Yeah, I think like I think Steven thought that it was odd, but I thought that it was kind of awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't sure why that was odd either. I think he was saying, yeah, I don't have a long record here, but this is what I have to show for what I've done.
Okay. And another question here says that does the performance at one firm warranty high performance at another firm?
Could you repeat that again, please?
Say that see, the performance at another firm's warranty high performance at another firm.
you said the performance of what? Guarantee the performance of what? I just missed those.
Okay, but if one person can have the same success in the current job, in if one person can have the same success in his job in the new job.
I still didn't understand the question. I'm sorry. Am I the only one?
No, I'm trying to look at the thing real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I wasn't able to understand either. I'm sorry, Marvin.
I can't hear you very well.
Okay, I'm sorry for for my English.
Oh, your English is good. Don't even worry.
Okay. He says, does the performance at any firm warranty high performance at another firm?
Oh, okay. I don't think like it necessarily would guarantee the performance, but I think that their performance at one firm could definitely be an indicator. But the reason I think it wouldn't necessarily guarantee it is that oftentimes the culture is so different. It might be set up in such a way that people can succeed at one firm to where then they go to another firm, it's completely different and they're not able to have that same level of success there.
Mm-hmm. Is it talking about from firm to firm or from one level to another?
I think they try to ask is if this is how I understand if if you if, I don't know how to explain that um, you can have the same success in your current job
Oh, one firm.
um,
Yeah, I agree with what Jared said. I think that depends on how they get along with the people in the other culture. This culture was one of mentoring and teamwork, and that's why I didn't count Gerald Baum at all. I don't think he would do well in that firm at all.
Mhm. Okay. Do you read the general human capital in transfer the general human capital? Did you read that?
Yeah, I read it.
Um, they say to discuss a little bit about this, but to be honest with you, I don't understand this.
That human capital paper that they had us read through.
Mhm.
Um,
As a little arrow, say often probable in that before.
well, it talked about characteristics that they could take from one company to another pretty easily. Well, Jared gave a good explanation of it before, really, too. Sonia had some good qualities that would transfer over to that firm pretty well, where maybe some of the other ones didn't. Sometimes you can be really doing well in your company, but it wouldn't transfer into another company or into another industry very well. I'm looking at that paper again.
So one thing with the human capital that I just thought was interesting was that management skills and leadership, or really just leadership skills, are highly transferable. So they can switch in between company to company, and that makes sense to me because a lot of CEOs who have been companies of previous industries can jump to a new company and oftentimes are very successful. Whereas there's it was like the company specific, and that just means that you um, really know how things are run in a certain company. Like you know the culture really well, and you know just the little mundane tasks really well, and those can't be transferred between industries very well because all of those things are different in different industries. I thought that was interesting.
And
I think we see that now. People will graduate with one degree and never really use that degree in another industry where they get hired. And I know I work in the education industry, and I can't easily transfer into another industry very well. It's pretty specific.
Hmm.
and so, what do you think is the most important for this case?
What was that?
I think it was. So, like, what was the most important part of the concept in the
Mm-hmm.
case?
Oh,
I think it was kind of learning how to value different types of human capital. Like Stephen might not even understood that that's broken down. That's what he was doing. I think that that's what it ultimately came down to is which type of uh, human capital he was valuing the most in this time of crisis that they needed to hurry up and get somebody hired.
Mm-hmm. I think the Steven, I think he is looking for, he making a little long, the hire for somebody when they have this company, the powership deal, and he's taking too long to hire somebody.
Yeah, he was taking a really long time to get someone hired.
Well, but then I go back to that concept I've learned in other classes. If you've read the Good to Great book, where so much about, I know they were in a hurry, but it's more important to get the right person in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept feeling like they shouldn't have put that much pressure on him to hire quickly. It was more important to make sure they had the right person. And if none of them fit, then they should have waited or let Rena do her job until they found the right person.
And I think at that point, if Rena is capable of doing that job well enough to cover that, then you might already have the right person.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought that she should, like, I know that they were having her do the job there for a while. I think that they still should have actually given her an interview, along with all the other candidates, just to see how she kind of stacked up in that sense.
Right.
Because I don't know, I would be worried about her doing a good job like she was, and then her feeling scorned by being told that she's just a placeholder. I think at the very least giving her an interview, and not just a token one, would make her feel as though she was being seriously considered and valued.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, one thing I was noticing is that many of these analysts, one of their stipulations in moving companies was that they could bring their junior analysts with them. And when Peter Thompson left, she did not leave with him. So that shows that she does have some level of like loyalty to the firm.
Yes. Just messed up. Have any other comment?
I thought the culture of the company was important too. They really seemed to want someone that would mentor other people and have key to their company and be dedicated, work as a team well. And I thought that they needed to make sure that they had someone that was a really good fit for that, so that they keep this moving forward. I think they found that that was a real value to them, and they wanted to make sure that the next person would also fit their culture.
Okay. Somebody have something else to say?
I think I'm all out. I think I talked way too much. I'm sorry, guys.
I don't have anything else, so
Okay.
thanks. So
We can finish here. Thank you guys for your thoughts and your insight. And we can meet next week.
Awesome.
So,
Well, I'll be in charge next week, so I'll make sure to send out a link for us, and I'll get this one posted.
so how are we going to post this meeting?
It's turning into a YouTube video, and so I will just go into that discussion board, and I'll post the link for the YouTube video on there.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
So.
See you next time, guys.
Okay.